What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our Let's Play here on the Amplified Console Edition. Now, today I'm actually using a different Xbox One and recording it through a different PC, hoping that I won't have to deal with any of the video issues that I've been having to deal with lately. Like when I first started recording the episodes early on in the season, it took probably around about 15, maybe 20 minutes to edit it all together, and then about another 45 minutes to render it. But now with obviously you've probably noticed the video glitches and the audio dropping in and out, it's taken me a good 2-3 hours to try to stitch together a worthwhile video worth putting up. So I'm lucky enough to have a sibling in my household who's got a brand new PC. He's also got an Xbox One in his room, so I've just sort of like linked over my account, synced up my world, so then I can just play on his one. I've just linked up the Elgato Capture HD card with his PC. So hopefully it all goes well, and fingers crossed. But to start ourselves off, we're over at the mining outpost. This isn't going to be where we're going to be working, but I did say I'm going to try out a different pathway each time. Now, I've gone for like a rickety old bridge sort of look, and then I've used the black concrete at the bottom to make it look like a bottomless pit, but I don't think you get the full effect of it only being one wide gap either side. Now, I'm tempted to pull these back by one, but then it will be very close to the pillars, but you'll get the full effect. And I did initially try it with a one wide bridge, and the effect of the bottomless pit did look good. But yeah, I don't think it really works too well with it only being one wide either side. But I like the idea. Let me know what you think in the comments, but we're definitely not going to be working on that today. Today, I've been toying around with an idea for a food source to get us through. Because at the moment, as you can see, I've got some bread on me. I've got some random cooked mutton from where I've been killing sheep. And yeah, we're sort of just going day by day as to what we're living off. And in creative mode, I've sort of found a way of sort of eliminating the mob cap for breeding. And yeah, to do that, we're going to have to actually go over to our end portal, which is the way that I'm doing it. And there's a farm idea that I've sort of set up in a sort of test world, and it's worked out pretty well in my test world, so I thought I'd give it a crack and see if we could do it in our survival world. And I did switch my test world into survival and made sure all the breeding and stuff works to see what the best what the best numbers were of how many cows we want. Now we're actually going to be using mushrooms because mushrooms themselves don't actually count towards the standard passive mob caps. They swing this boat around and get away from that nether portal. The mushrooms don't count towards the normal passive mobs, so usually when you're breeding cows, chickens, pigs or sheep, you reach the mob cap extremely quickly. Like back at the cottage, I managed to get up to 9 cows before it said I'd reached the cap, and it's just ridiculous. It's like you kill off 3, breed 3, they take another 20 minutes to grow up, and it's the turnaround on it is like half a stack of cooked steak in order to you know what, for the time being I think I'm just going to break this because we're going to be working over here and the sound of that portal is going to drive me insane. Also, a bit of a sacrilegious thing I'm going to have to do is I am actually going to have to get a sword on me, otherwise I'm going to die from silverfish. I'm going to actually have to break the silverfish spawner because it's just going to be way too much of a nuisance trying to build what I need to build over here. Oh, get away, will you? Okay, so I know the only farm I can think of is the one that Etho's already done using the silverfish spawner, and even his one, if you watch his series, it's an extremely good Let's Play series. Earlier on, he plays around with the silverfish farm, and the amount of aggro he has trying to make some sort of use out of it is hilarious to watch. but unfortunately I'm going to break ours because it's just going to be in the way. Now, what I am going to go ahead and do, a lot of this area needs to be cleared out. I can't sleep yet. A lot of this area needs to be cleared out. I'm going to get the actual plan, um, well, the actual layout for the farm that I need built here in place before I bring you back and explain how it all is going to work. So I will see you back shortly. Welcome back, guys. Now, I was just going to bring you back after I'd had it all completely done and dusted and ready to go, but I thought I'd bring you back for this progress update. Now, the pods have all been put in. It looks like a complete mess at the moment. I'm well aware of that. Trying to work around it has been a bit of a nightmare. First quick tip is that if you're clearing out a stronghold, make sure you use Silk Touch. Otherwise, every other block a silverfish will come out of, and when one comes out, about 20 comes out, and they've actually almost killed me about 2 or 3 times now. But if you use Silk Touch, they don't come out the block just drops as normal, although that when you place it down, it won't contain silverfish. Thank God. But yeah, we cleared out a massive section to the right and left of the actual end portal, which is just under this 3x3 here. Now I've got 10 pods, breeding pods either side. Now you can see a few mushrooms in there at the moment. I'm going to quickly show you a few clips of me going all the way over to get the mushrooms, which was about 1,000 blocks away. So yeah, take a look at this. Yep, as you probably saw, I was using the boats and the leads to bring them over. Now, a quick tip for doing that also is to make sure that you've got your autosave disabled, and because otherwise each time you get a saving spike, the leash will break and then you'll have to go fishing for them. And yeah, I've learned that the hard way when I was transporting horses before. But I thought I'd bring you back for a quick status update, and let me actually get up there to show you what's going on in a little bit more of a clearer view. I've been having to use ender pearls all around here. Now, I'm doing individual breeding pods, so you have 1 mooshroom per pod. There's 10 each side, so each time you do a breeding run on either side, it'll be 5 from this side, 5 from that side, which means that 10 goes into the portal. Now, the reason how come I'm doing it this way, because instead of having, like, there is very compact cow breeders where you can pump the water underneath them, they all jump up, and then you sort of spam the wheat on them as they're jumping, but it's extremely inconsistent and it's hard to keep track of which ones you've bred and not. This one is working on full efficiency that I'm going for as far as breeding capabilities go. Now, I've done 10 either side because as soon as you breed more than 22 altogether in one area, it will come up saying that you've reached the maximum breeding for the mushrooms. So 10 either side, you breed 2 as soon as one goes through the portal. I mean, like instantly as one goes through the portal, like one of the babies, you could then breed another pair. That's what's so good about this one, is that usually when you kill, you have to wait 5 minutes for the game to update and then check the mob cap for the area before you could then breed again. But this one, as soon as they go through the portal, they're instantly taken away from the mob cap, and then you could breed the next lot. So you breed 2, they go in the portal, breed another 2, they go in the portal, breed another 2, and then you could breed the entire lot every 5 minutes. which means every 5 minutes you'll have 20 new ones go through. And then, yeah, and then I'll sort of show you the process once it's all done as to what to do then. Now, if we go up here, I'll show you how I've been actually getting them down here, which has been a bit of a nightmare. Now, I did bring them all the way over from the Mooshroom Island, which is about 1,000 blocks away. It's right near our spawn area, so there's no chance of Mooshrooms actually spawning in this area. I've bred them all up here, mainly because I didn't want to try to transport the two that I had down there. If one of them died, having to make that trip again would have been a nightmare. But what I've been doing is getting one on the leash, if this can actually work now. Okay, I think that one's already on the leash on the fence actually, there we go. And then what you do is that you just hop up a few blocks until this one goes up. Come on, go one more, come on, there we go. And then you sort of just go back down, and then you bring him over to the hole over here, push him down, and he sort of springs up and down because he's still on the leash obviously. You've got to make sure that he doesn't spring all the way up and then lands and then takes damage. And then you just drop down with him on the leash. There's a double water drop there so he doesn't take any fall damage coming down. And then I've sort of just been leading him along here. You have to bring him out because the ladder's just there, because he wants to be a bit of an issue trying to get past it. Come on. And then as soon as he starts walking down, you then take him to the next pod along. And then you sort of just, it's easier if you actually take the leash off him up here, so then you can pick it back up. There we go. And then you sort of just try to edge them into the actual pods. And there we go. That's another pod done. Now, I've been blocking them up to make sure I know which one's been done and not. So far we've got 5 down here in these ones, and it's to stop another Mooshroom from falling into the same pod. Now, initially I did try it after having the compact cow breeder just above the portal. That was nowhere near efficient enough working with the Mooshrooms. I did then try having 2 in each pod, but then for some reason, as soon as you got wheat in your hand, and they sort of, because they're obtaining, they're contained within the same block, and they both face you directly. You can only ever get one with the breed mechanism using the wheat. So I've gone for completely individual pods per each one, just to make it as efficient and, to be honest with you, as what is it? It's like a quality of life issue more of a thing than anything else. Rather than having to sort of like edge around and get the view of the right one to be able to breed it, you just come along, you just go 1, 2, they could then breed through the glass, and you go 3, 4, them 2 will then breed through the glass, and then 5, 6, and then so on and so forth. And in my creative world, I switched it to survival mode to make sure it was all working fine. And this is by far the best system that I managed to come up with. But yeah, that's our progress update for now. I'll bring you back once I've got all the Mooshrooms in their breeding cells, and we've got a few going through, and all obviously the water streams will be in. This area should be somewhat looking a little bit better next time I bring you in, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, I'll see you back soon. Bye bye. Welcome back, guys. Now it is quite a while later. I've been doing a lot of testing and a lot of breeding, to be honest with you. Now, one thing, you're definitely going to need a wheat farm nearby where you're having this, and obviously it's got to be right next to the end portal. Now, the way this works is that the end portal itself can teleport up to 28 mobs at any one point before it stops. So I've already bred 20 lots of these, so 2 complete breeding cycles, and you have to wait 5 minutes in between each breeding cycle before they can breed again. So what I'll show you happen here is breed you, and you let them breed together. You've got the trapdoors on the side, so they easily just walk off and then they go through to the portal. That should be 21, I believe. Then you let that one go off, and then you breed the next ones, and then so on and so forth. Just got to make sure the babies walk off. But I'll show you what happens if you try to breed them before the baby's gone through the portal. Do this. That one's still able to breed. Do that. Get that baby to walk off. And if we get down to this side before, breed these two. Yeah, Zombie Pigman decided to pay us a visit coming through the portal that I had to build. Come on, off you go. Okay. We should be nearing the max now. And I'll show you what happens when it reaches the max as well. So that one's gone through. Come on. Okay, so if we breed that one quickly and breed this one quickly. And then do that, yeah. This animal can't enter love mode, that's because the two babies are still here. But as soon as they go through the portal, which that one should be doing soon now. As soon as they go through, then you should then be able to... Which one was I on? I was on this one. I thought that was the end of them. That should definitely have been the end. Otherwise this would be the third cycle and that would be number 30 going through. Now usually what happens is that once the limit's been reached, the babies will then just sit inside the portal itself. Just like that. Perfect demonstration. That's when you know that you've reached the maximum going through at that one point. Now what you then do is that you just hop through. Like so. You've got all the babies here. And then you just pull them all over. Now obviously you've seen, well you can see that I've done this around about 4 or 5 times and reached a cap. What's this baby one? Oh, get down. There we go. Now I have no idea what the maximum number you can reach. There's well over 100 here already because this is the 4th time I've done it. Now one thing I do know is that if you don't clear out a big enough area in your end when you do this, when they grow up they will suffocate each other in the walls and you still get their drops, but you don't get the effect of having the looting and fire aspect sword. Now with this many here, I'm not too sure if there's going to be enough room or not. So what I may want to do is actually just go and clear just a little bit more. Just so they got enough room to move around. But this is what I don't understand about the game, is that they give us such low mob caps, and as you can see I'm having no issues having this many mobs in this smaller space at one time. It's like no framiness, no lag, no jittering, no game crashes. It's just, and this isn't even the most I've ever had in one go. It's like in my creative mode, testing it all out, I was able to get at least about 200 to 300 before I got bored from going back and forth. Now I'm trying to figure out ways of doing it so that you don't have to go back and forth. Now I'm considering probably having a second player in the end over here holding wheat, so as soon as they teleport through they automatically just run straight forward to them. There's also a fully automatic chicken system which I'm sort of in the current process of creating, where you'll have chickens laying eggs into hoppers and then the hoppers feeding into the dispenser, firing it into a wall, and then the baby chickens automatically just going through the portal. Then if you had the second player in the end holding some seeds in the right position, all the baby chickens would run off the spawn platform, allowing more to be able to go through, and that would be completely AFKable until you wanted to harvest them. But yeah, now once we're in the end, it will take this slot, I believe it's anywhere up to 1 Minecraft day to fully grow up, which is 20 minutes. Now between a lot of them it's usually going to be between 17 and 20 minutes, because Obviously, each time I come in and out of the end, it's going to be loaded for around about 5 to 10 seconds while I make my way from the platform to the exit area. But yeah, hopefully this should be enough room. They're making half a racket as well though. But as far as using the game mechanics, I don't know if this would work on Pocket Edition or not, or if it works on the other console variations. But yeah, because they're in such an enclosed space and because you're still within distance of them, they won't despawn. And because the end portal over there is so close, by the time you make it there to there, they haven't got time to despawn. Also, in the area where you're breeding them, I've got a bed, so as soon as you jump through the end portal, you spawn back there, and then you can just start breeding them all over again. So in total, to get this many, 5 minutes in between each breeding run provides 10 babies. So you've got 15 minutes per each max, 4 maxes. Took about an hour to breed up this many to get them all into one place, which if you was using the standard console mechanics of having to just breed a few, kill a few, breed a few, kill a few, you'd never get the sort of efficiency that you would get from using this sort of farm. I'm extremely excited to see what I could come up with regarding the chicken farm idea, like just having the fully automatic and having a second pad plugged in and online just as an AFK player in the end to keep it loaded. I will be testing that fully within the next few days, and if it does all work, I will be making an addition to this farm of having just a sort of chicken breeder on the side of it. Like, I've already started the process of getting that ready by having chickens on the surface laying eggs into a chest. I've got 4 of them, so I should have a double chest full of eggs by now, well, near enough anyway. So that should be all ready to go if it does work, and that will be in another episode. But what I will do now is make a small cut, and then as soon as they all start growing up, I'll bring you back for the culling. So I will see you back in a sec. Okay guys, now that we're back, as you can see, the first few have grown up, which means gradually they'll all just start popping like popcorn. All the babies will be drawn to the adults, so they all sort of get crowded together. But if we use some wheat just to segregate them a little bit, and then there'll usually be around about a 10 to 15 second time gap in between each next lot then growing up. So yeah, there's another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. This is the fun bit, just watching them, they would just like pop like popcorn. And then you can see the sort of scale. I actually should, yeah, definitely should have widened it up a bit, because this many in the small space that they were in, you don't realise how many it is when they're babies. Like, there's still tons of baby ones still in there, and still they've pretty much completely chock-a-blocked this entire section that I've cleared out. Now, I know compared to other cow farms, this one has got quite a bit of manual work for each sort of part of it. It's not like auto harvesting, or it's not a fully automatic farm, but by any means necessary, this is like the first stepping stone to then getting it to get better and better from here onwards. Now that I figured out how to get past the passive mob cap, I'm just looking towards the future as to if you was able to implement this using sheep, for instance. Imagine the sort of scales of the sheep farms that you can have here in the end. It's like you can have hundreds of different coloured sheep in the end using this sort of tactic. But yeah, so I think they've all pretty much grown up now. I'm seeing if I could spot any baby ones. Just have a look. I can't hear any baby ones either. Yeah, so I think it's time for the culling. Now, as you can see, the only food I've got on me is bread and 3 bits of steak, so let's get in here and start making a mess. Let's see what we end up with. Now I've got looting 3 fire aspect on my sword. Let's just see how we get on. Maybe, well, may take a minute or two. Now thinking of names for this initial farm design, I'm definitely leaning towards the cow tipper. Probably the cow tipper 2000. Because you are literally tipping the cows into the end, ready to slaughter. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be the name. But if you are watching this and you're thinking of copying this farm design, I applaud you to, if you are initially going to copy this farm design, then take my words of advice regarding using the silk touch in the stronghold and using mushrooms over any other passive mobs, because the mushrooms have their own cap as long as you haven't got a mushroom island sorry, a mushroom island near your strongholds, because obviously if mushrooms can spawn near your stronghold then it's going to be a bad choice. But I would actually honestly prefer if people took inspiration from this farm design. Like, I've not seen this done on anyone else's consoles let's plays or tutorials or anything like that. It's like I've seen mobs being transported but not to using it as a farm. And if you are gonna try to use this type of idea, I really wish that it inspires people to come up with better designs of this type of farm. Because as you can see, if you're on the Xbox One, PS4, Switch U, the mob cap is definitely way lower than what it should be, and this is just a way of getting around it. So this is a stepping stone to probably future better farms, as long as they don't, well, sort of do us over as they have done in the past by taking the ability of doing this out. It's like, I know in the Nether, I've tried initially this idea was using Nether portals. You can use this idea for hostile mobs using Nether portals, but for some reason, whenever I've tried to transport a passive mob, especially in numbers through the Nether portal, all that happens is that when you then go through the portal, you just get all of their drops explode everywhere. I mean, like over about 100 by 100 area, sort of everywhere. And yeah, but I'm still working on a hostile sort of mob farm sort of spawning system for the Nether. I'm going to be working on having a fully AFK-able version of this farm, hopefully within the next week or so. The reason how comes I've not had an upload for probably about a week to a week and a half is because I've been working on this and making sure that all my numbers were correct and not to give you misinformation, or to, like, initially I tried it with cows and then tried it with sheep and pigs, and the chicken idea literally come to me after I started doing the mushrooms. But yeah, that one's all cleared out, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 stacks of cooked steak, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and a big stacks of leather from one harvest. And yeah, it doesn't take much work. It's literally just breeding them, coming into the end, jumping through the portal. But I'm fairly sure, I'm about 90% sure that if you had a second pad with a second person logged in, just standing here with wheat, as if they come off the platform and the end portal is no longer holding the metadata of the mobs in it, because they'd already be loaded on this side and they'd already come through, that you would just infinitely be able to breed them from the other side and just have them go through constantly, like a constant stream. And if you had like the chickens as well as the mushrooms all going at once, and then you can just, I think it's like the possibilities of it, the possibilities of this farm are a lot more exciting to me than this initial farm design. and I'm quite happy with this farm design because I've got fed up of living off of bread. It's been driving me insane. But yeah, it's like the possibilities of this farm design and where I can now take this farm design, and I'm looking forward to if any of you have seen any sort of farms like this out there before, and if it's done better or more efficiently, or just I'm just looking for more inspiration when it comes to this, because I'm quite happy to be able to get past the mob cap and to see that many mobs on my Minecraft screen when it's not on the PC is extremely pleasing to me, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I hope you are happy with that too. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's going to be it for me today. If you have enjoyed the episode and it's your first time to the channel and you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing for future Minecraft content. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.